Here's more wrestling news for December 7th, 2022, and we're kicking off with SmackDown, as this week's show won't see Drew McIntyre team with Sheamus to challenge for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles as previously advertised. On Raw, it was announced that McIntyre had been medically disqualified, and there's now been an update on the condition of the former WWE Champion. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer explained that McIntyre is injured and that he is supposed to be back in time for a Christmas show, meaning he'll only miss a few weeks of action. As fans have seen since his comeback in 2017, McIntyre is intensely loyal to WWE, and Meltzer added that Drew was pushing to be allowed to wrestle despite his injury, but WWE's medical team said no. Instead of McIntyre, it'll be Butch who teams with Sheamus to challenge the Usos this Friday, which will come just days after the Bloodline members retained against Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle. Losing McIntyre is a blow to WWE, but it could have been far worse, and fans can expect the Scottish Warrior back in just a few weeks and in time for the road to WrestleMania 39. Now, Vince McMahon has been out of WWE for 5 months now, something that fans for decades thought they would never see. Aside from Stephanie McMahon's slightly tone-deaf "Thank you, Vince" chant after his retirement, McMahon hasn't been featured or even been mentioned on WWE TV until this week. When Booker T discussed some of the all-time greatest bookers, the 5-time WCW champion name-dropped McMahon, marking the first mention of his former boss since July. Fans were quick to react online, with some saying it feels weird to mention Vince these days, and one fan joked that McMahon will be the number 30 entrant in next month's Men's Royal Rumble match. Whatever you feel about McMahon, his influence and contributions to the world of professional wrestling cannot be overstated, and while Booker may be right that McMahon is one of wrestling's all-time greats, his mention of the controversial ex-WWE CEO didn't go amiss this week. It was while working under McMahon that Booker wrestled for years in WWE, and next month, he'll return to the ring for his Reality of Wrestling promotion 6 months after his most recent match. It's been over a decade since Booker last competed in a WWE ring, but could the 5-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion be eyeing up a return? Addressing rumors of a WWE in-ring return, likely as part of next month's Men's Rumble match, Booker told listeners of his Hall of Fame podcast that he's open to an offer. "I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be checking the mail every day all the way up until that date, because if I get the invitation, I'm definitely going to, execute it. Definitely going to be, be there. I'm going to be in the middle of that ring. I'm going to be prepared to be in the middle of that ring if that happens. But now, nobody's talked to me or anything like that about being in the Rumble. Then again, I don't have any itch to scratch or anything like that, but hey man, I'm always down." Ultimately, it'll be Triple H's decision as to whether Booker is in next month's Men's Royal Rumble, but fans could soon see the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer have one more shot at headlining WrestleMania. Video game news now, as fans are still waiting on the release of AEW Fight Forever, and while there was a time it was expected to be released in 2022, that clearly isn't the case. One name who's been active in the game's development is Evil Uno, who gave an update to Fightful Select when he spoke at WrestleCade. Uno explained that right now the plan is for a single release, so there will not be a sequel the following year, but that Fight Forever will be evolved over time. Addressing speculation about the roster, Uno said that 50 wrestlers will be part of the game's initial release, and unfortunately, Danhausen won't be one of them. Danhausen won't be in the game as he joined AEW too late in the Fight Forever development process, which is the same reason Claudio Castagnoli won't be involved. AEW's video game department has cost Tony Khan an 8-figure amount, at least $10 million, so there's a lot riding on Fight Forever to be a success whenever the game comes out. In October 2020, Kylie Rae missed Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory event, which she later explained as due to issues with her mental health. After a break from wrestling, Kylie would sign with the NWA last year, but took another hiatus from wrestling, and now the young wrestler has caught the eye of WWE. According to PW Insider, Kylie Rae was part of a tryout in the Performance Center yesterday, and these tryouts will run until the end of this week. Kylie wasn't the only notable name in Orlando, as former MLW star KC Navarro was also at the tryouts after announcing in September that he was a free agent. While attending the tryouts does not guarantee either wrestler a job with WWE, we imagine the company will consider the fan base both wrestlers have, and we'll have to see if Kylie, Navarro, or if any other wrestler who tries out this week earns a contract from Stephanie McMahon. Each year, Pro Wrestling Illustrated shares their list of the top 100 tag teams in the world of professional wrestling, and this year's list has proven to be extra oozy. It's been announced that PWI's top tag team is none other than undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions the Usos, but there has been a lot of discussion about whether they deserve the spot. Several fans and even Dax Harwood have argued that FTR should have taken the top spot, with Harwood asking if Heyman wrote the list because, quote, "this shit full of lies." While Harwood isn't pleased, Kenny Omega sees no problem with the rankings and tweeted that the Usos spot at number 1 is well earned. Despite having been on WWE TV since 2010, this marks the first time the Usos have claimed the number 1 spot, something fans of the Bloodline members believe should have come years earlier. But what do you think of this ranking? Are the Usos the best team in the world, or should another tag team, perhaps FTR, get that coveted number 1 spot? Let us know in the comments below. Over to AEW as Athena turned heel last month, attacking veteran Madison Rayne. When Aubrey Edwards stepped in, Athena snapped on the referee, locking her in the crossface, and has been delivering beatdowns on enhancement talent ever since. Athena had a ton of buzz when she debuted for AEW, but that hype quickly fizzled out, and when speaking to Busted Open Radio, the former Ember Moon explained how her very real concerns led to a change of character. Sometimes nice guys finish last. Sometimes you just get frustrated and it's really hard because you're trying to find an opportunity to not get lost in the shuffle, because at AEW, there are so many talented women just across the board, and it's like, what can you do to stand out? You're asking your questions like, why am I stuck in this position? Why is this happening to me? Am I not good? Finally, you just have to say F it. While Athena spent her entire WWE run as a face, she was, by her own admission, a notorious heel before joining NXT in 2015, and spent her entire indie career as a villain. Now Athena has a new chance to avoid being lost in the shuffle, but it'll be Tony Khan's decision as to whether this heel run leads to more opportunities for the former NXT Women's Champion. For years, CM Punk used the GTS in various promotions, but it's no secret that this move isn't an original creation of his. Instead, Punk stole the move from Kenta, something that resulted in the originator not being allowed to use his own move for years in WWE. Kenta has never shied away from making his feelings clear about Punk, and he made his point yet again this week. After defeating Speedball Mike Bailey at a Wrestling Revolver show, Kenta spoke about the move, saying, "CM Punk, no, the go to sleep is my move." With Punk's time in AEW seemingly coming to an end, it's unlikely we'll see him use the GTS ever again, unless WWE agrees to bring the former world champion in. Punk's actions after AEW All Out have earned him a lot of heat from a lot of wrestlers, but few have a bigger gripe with the Chicago-made wrestler than Kenta. And we're ending today with NXT, as fans will see the debut of Lyra Valkyria on next week's episode. After a vignette introduced the former NXT UK star last week, a second vignette aired last night, announcing her arrival next week. During her near 3 years in WWE so far, Valkyria has only been pinned twice, once by Jinny, albeit thanks to interference by Joseph Connors, and the other time by Meiko Satomura. The Irish superstar was part of NXT UK until the very end in August of this year, and now she's looking for success and championship gold in the United States. Thanks for watching, guys, and be sure to stay tuned for our first top 10 that is going to drop at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday. That's it, guys. That's your wrestling news for today. Make sure to check out our channel for amazing wrestling content. Also, subscribe to our channel for daily wrestling news.